Guys, I'm literally shaking right now, and I gotta share this with somebody because I don't think that people know that the average person right now can make a lot of money. We're talking about millions. Okay, no, I don't have a course to sell. No, this is not a sponsored video. Do you remember how back in the day people made their wealth because they bought a lot of properties when properties were like $5, right? Those days are unattainable now. But our equivalent to that is literally investing in the stock market with what's going on with AI and tech. Okay, because we literally, if you're an adult right now, you have a front seat to what's going on and seeing how our world is literally changing right before our very eyes. You know how before people would say, damn, if I invested $1,000 into Starbucks in the 90s, I'd be a millionaire. If I invested $1,000 into Amazon in the 90s, I'd be a millionaire. This is our opportunity for that. What is happening right now is literally something that's like, for a lot of people, it's going to be once in a lifetime. This is going to be a time that people will be jealous of in the future because they'll be like, fuck, I was 8 years old when that was happening. I didn't know that. I couldn't do that, right? You don't want to be a person that's like, oh, it was too late for me. Look at, just read is all I'm saying. Okay, ladies, I know that stocks are boring. I totally get it, right? But like, if you read something for 15 minutes and you invest $5,000 and you see that $5,000 become $220,000, all of a sudden that 15 minutes of boring ass reading, it's not boring anymore. Right now, at a time where people feel hopeless and they feel so much despair and it's like the world is against them, there is a huge opportunity for the average person to come out of this with millions.
School taught us algebra and Shakespeare, but not how credit, interest, or inflation actually work. Let's fix that. Welcome back to Profit Pulse, where we break down money basics to help you take control of your finances.
You know, one of the best credit secrets that they could teach in school that they definitely aren't teaching to help boost your credit score as well as your credit limits, the rule of 33. The rule of 33 is 3 days before your credit card reports, the reporting date, you should pay your credit card balances down to 3%. Why? Because by doing that, you're going to lower your risk factor, lower your utilization, and both of those things are going to boost your score. Now, I teach people to pay their credit cards to zero every single week, but you should always have at least 1 or 2 cards reporting at least 3% utilization. That will help to boost your score and keep your risk factor nice and low, which increases your approval odds and will help you get higher increased credit limits on any future cards you go after. You want to learn more? Make sure you hit that follow button or check out the 700 credit class.
Some credit people are going to hate that I'm going to expose this, but you can literally fix your credit yourself online, just like the credit repair people do. A lot of the credit repair people actually use this platform. So this is Credit Score IQ, and this is the platform a lot of credit repair people use. It gives you the whole credit report right here, and then you can even dispute by going to Dispute Hub. Once you get to Dispute Hub, you're going to click on Credit Report Review. Once you get to credit report review, you're going to click on the things that you want to dispute. So I'm going to dispute this Hertz inquiry. Then I'm going to hit start dispute. And then you're going to select a reason. Hit next. Hit finish. Once you hit finish, that added that to the dispute. Now you're going to click back to report review. And now you're going to add the next thing. So I'm going to add these inquiries right here. So now it says this is in dispute. Here's another account that I'm going to dispute, this Toyota. And then you're going to hit start dispute. There's going to be a list of reasons why you want to dispute. So now that you've added all your stuff to your disputes, you're going to generate dispute letters. Once you generate your dispute letters, you're going to have your letter for TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. So there's 2 items on this TransUnion letter, 3 items on this Experian letter, and 1 item on this Equifax letter. So I'm going to pull up a letter. So here's the letter that it created for me. You just got to fill this stuff out yourself, and it even gives you instructions on how to fill everything out. So here's the step-by-step instructions. It tells you to write your date of birth, so add a copy of your ID, proof of address, and then it says to mail it, either US mail or certified. Always mail certified. Once you send your letters off, go ahead and mark as sent. On top of the disputes, you can do a bunch of other stuff on here. So this is how the credit repair people advise you. They tell you increase your credit limits, be an authorized user, step by step based off your credit report. So even if you were to increase your credit limits, it tells you which cards you should increase. So not only are you doing your dispute process on Credit Score IQ, but you're also getting the advice based off your credit report. So basically, you just became a credit repair expert by having this platform. You can use my link in the bio. It does give you a 7-day trial for $1. If you go directly to the website, it is $39.99. So I do urge you to use my link. That way you can get the free trial and you get it at a cheaper price. It's $29.99 if you do decide to keep it, which I do recommend you keep it if you plan on working on your credit.
I'm about to tell y'all step by step how you can fix your credit by yourself without a credit repair company. And no, this is not complicated because I did it. I took my score from a 433 all the way to a 700. So if I can do it, you can do it too. Okay, so first you need to go to annualcreditreport.com. You're going to pull your report from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now, before you start disputing anything, we need to go shut the mouths of these big fat snitches that be throwing a rock and hiding their hand. That's LexisNexis, SageStream, and CoreLogic. They are messy and they tell on you behind your back. Go on their websites and click security freeze. This should not take you no more than like 10 minutes. So when you freeze them, the credit bureaus can't go back and ask them what you're disputing is true or not. So let's go. Now you need to go look at all of the negative items that's on your report. Collections, charge-off, late payments, repos, evictions, hard inquiries, all of that. And they all can get deleted. Whatever you do, please do not dispute this stuff online. It's a trap. Send a letter via certified mail. Don't just say, oh, this is not mine. You're going to have to say something like this. That same letter, you're going to mail it to all 3 bureaus. Now you need a credit builder account. You can download Self Credit Builder. And girl, you can even report your rent. Let me know if y'all need that information. Okay, but now you need to go remove the hard inquiries off your credit profile. If you have hard inquiries that you never even got approved for, they're hurting your credit score. Send an inquiry removal letter like this. Now this is a process. It's not magic, but trust me, it will happen. Now that can be a lot of work. You can skip that whole process and just get the bundle. All of the letters are already done for you. Everything you can think of is in that bundle. So if you want me to send the bundle over to you, just say the word and I got you, girl. Nobody should have a low score after this.
I'll give you one little tip right now on credit. Nobody knows this. And this is like nobody knows this. Your credit report looks at your credit cards and it says, what is the credit line on the credit card? So let's say you have one credit card and your credit line is $10,000. And let's say that you actually pay it off every month. You say, I don't hold a balance, Kevin. When I get the bill, I pay it off. Well, according to the credit bureau, you don't pay it off. Why? Because they have a trick. There's a 30-day cycle on the credit card. This is when the payment is due. But they report to the credit bureau 5 or 10 days earlier. So let's say you have a $10,000 line of credit, you put $1,000 on it, and at the end of the month when you get your bill, you pay the $1,000. You never charged any interest. You always have a zero balance. Not according to the credit report, because the credit report doesn't look at the end of the month. It looks maybe 5 or 10 days before your cycle ends, and it shows that you have $1,000 on your credit card, and that can lower your credit score. So you always have to find out when do you report to the credit bureaus, and then make sure you make your payment before that date. That will increase your credit score, sometimes 15 points. And that can be huge, huge when you're looking to finance a home or refinance a home or something, to use credit wisely.
Here's how I built my credit to 817 as a girl who lives alone, travels solo, and loves shopping. Welcome to Finance with Mel. Let me break it down exactly how I did it step by step. Step 1, skip the store cards. I know they're tempting at checkout, but the APR is trash and you don't need them. You only need 2 to 3 cards that are solid to build. Step 2, always pay on time. And here's where I used to get confused. Your due date is when you actually owe the payment. Your statement date is a few days later, and that's what gets reported to the bureaus. If you pay and then swipe again before the statement closes, it looks like you still owe a ton. Step 3, keep your utilization low. Under 10% is good, but I like to stay closer to 3%. Step 4, don't close old cards. I know it's tempting, but your credit history is gold. Closing accounts will actually drag your score down. Step 5, check your credit often. Seriously, it doesn't hurt your score, so you can check as much as you want. I use Credit Karma, and honestly, I check it more than my email. Doing these little things change everything for me. It's how I qualify for better apartments, travel without stressing, and buy myself nice things. And in my next video, I will share my favorite cards that actually help me travel for free.
If I had a 500 credit score, here's exactly what I would do to get to a 700 credit score in 3 months. First, I would pull a copy of my credit report. You can use Identity IQ, My Score IQ, any credit monitoring service of your choice. I would then identify all the inaccurate personal information. This includes names, employers, addresses, and phone numbers. Your past due debts connected to you through old addresses, so I would then make a phone call to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian and get all my old addresses removed. I would then go back to that same credit report and identify my negative items. This can be different across all 3 credit bureaus. I would plug those accounts in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to create a dispute letter to get these negative items removed. I would then attach that dispute letter to a CFPB complaint, along with a copy of my ID, proof of address, and social security card. Each credit bureau will get a different complaint, so one for TransUnion, one for Equifax, and one for Experian. I would then wait 30 days for a response. Once you get the results from your dispute, if any of your accounts came back verified, I would then follow up with the violation of debt letter for round 2. Again, filing another CFPB complaint. You'll continue this process over and over again until all the negative accounts have been removed from your credit report. If you like this done for you, click the link in my bio to sign up for credit.
I've come to realize how little the average person actually knows what they're doing when it comes to investing or the stock market. So if that's you, lock in, because in this video, I'm about to explain everything you need to know in a way that if you watch until the very end, I guarantee it'll put you ahead of 99% of people your age. First thing you gotta do is just start. Even if you only have $5 to your name, that's enough to open up a TFSA and start growing your investments without getting taxed. TFSA stands for Tax-Free Savings Account. Inside your TFSA, you can start purchasing stocks. Stocks is basically owning a very tiny piece of a company so that if a company grows, your stock will also grow, but likewise, you share the risk of losing money if the stock goes down. For the vast majority of people who are getting started, I recommend buying VFV for Canadians or VOO for Americans. This is an index fund that tracks the S&P 500. Instead of burdening the risk of owning one company's stock, you instead get to buy a whole basket of America's top 500 companies. So if one company decides to go bankrupt by doing some dumb shit or like getting canceled, you don't care because there's 499 other companies that you can rely on. Through an index fund, you're effectively investing in the economy as a whole. And historically, since its inception in around 1920s, the S&P 500 has averaged a return of 7% a year. And as long as you're holding for the long term, you should be in good hands. And to be honest, if there's ever an extended period of time where the S&P 500 is going down, then that probably means there's bigger issues to be worrying about in the world, like a nuclear war breaking out. There's a popular quote that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is now. And this is imperative investing because of a magical thing called compound interest. Compounding lets your money work for you, and to visualize how powerful this is, I'm going to set up a little scenario here, where if you invest just $100 a month for 40 years, you will have $48,000 spent into investments into the S&P 500, but at the end of the 40 years, you will come out with $262,000. The average Canadian adult makes $65K a year, so I'd imagine throughout your entire career, you'd probably be investing more than $48K. So this is an example of what would happen if you invested $1,000 a month instead of $100. And not gonna lie, it's a pretty damn sexy number if you ask me. If you're able to develop high income skills and increase your earning potential, you can accelerate this process into an early retirement. Just make sure to start early and stay consistent. Also, an important thing to know is that time in the market beats timing the market. So don't worry about the nitty gritty. As always, make sure to do your own research. There's a lot more to investing than what I covered in this video. So if you want to stick around for the sauce, then make sure to hit me up with a follow and stay tuned for more bangers in the future. Peace.
Last week, I made a video saying that I sold $100,000 worth of my stock portfolio because I was buying a house last month, right? And in 1 month, I was able to grow that to $50,000 after shaving off that 100K, right? Now, in 1 week, since I made that last video, that $50,000 has grown to $84,000. I am so close to recovering the entire $100,000 that I initially shaved off. The point of me saying this is y'all need to start investing as soon as possible. Don't wait to make more money in order for you to start investing. It doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter how old you are. In fact, the younger you are and the earlier you start, the better. There's never been one person that went, fuck, I regret investing early. Everyone says, shit, I wish I'd done it sooner. Okay, if you're leaving your money in a savings account or a checkings account for the long run, you're not going to see compound interest grow the way it will in a brokerage account, right? Like, these are things as adults we need to have these conversations. If you want to know how to start, you can open up a brokerage account. I have a referral link for Robinhood in my profile. If you want to go that way, you get a free stock and I get a free stock, okay? But if you don't want to do that, go through one of the big three. Go through Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab. All right, but whatever it is, open up your brokerage account, Start investing, be consistent.
Here's the main thing that I learned as someone who grew up poor, who is now dating and living with someone who grew up with money. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Investing is not for the rich, it's how you get rich, because rich people don't work for their money in time. They use their money to create more money. If you are serious about wanting to retire a millionaire and getting yourself out of generational poverty, then there is one concept that you have to familiarize yourself with, and it is compounding interest. Because right now, I can almost guarantee that you are hoarding any little bit of money that you have into a savings account like we've been taught, and it is currently devaluing. So compound interest is the concept where you are not only earning interest on your initial investment, but also on the interest it generated over time. As a small example, let's say I invest $100 with an average market return of 10%. If this were simple interest, I would only be making $10 every year, as the interest made would only be calculated on my initial investment of $100. But with compounding interest, the first year I would make $10, but the second year the interest wouldn't be calculated on the initial $100, rather the $110. But that was like a dumbed down example using only $100 of your own money in 10 years. So let me give you a more probable scenario of a young adult making a decent amount of money who uses the pay yourself first method. And this is where you'll really start to understand why time actually does equal money. Ben is 20 and he decides that he wants to start investing $500 a month, and he tells his buddy Matt that he should do the same. Matt though wants to live it up in his 20s, and he's like, we have the time, I'll start investing later. So they meet up again 10 years later, and Matt tells Ben like, hey, I think I'm gonna start investing, how's it going for you? Ben's like, you know what, I've been doing it a decade, I think I'm gonna stop right now and I'm just gonna let that money grow and see where it takes me. And Matt's like, bet, I'm for sure gonna catch up to you because I'm gonna start investing $500 a month for the next 35 years. 35 years later, they meet again, compounding interest did its thing, and Matt was able to retire with $1.7 million, with only $200,000 of that being his own money. But what about Ben? He only invested for 10 years. Surely he'll have less, right? Wrong. Ben will retire with nearly $3.1 million, with only $60,000 of that being his own money. I swear the best thing you can do for yourself in your 20s is open up a TFSA with a banker broker and tell them that you want to invest in mutual funds and ETFs. All of the profit made in those types of accounts will be tax-free. Make sure you have a small emergency fund, but anything extra, invest it. Your future you will thank you. The best time to start investing was yesterday, second best time, today.
What you're seeing behind me is the reason why rich people are getting richer and poor people are getting poorer, okay? We need to lock in right here because this affects everybody. Behind me is the Dixie. This is the US dollar index, and the value of the dollar is going down. Now, what does that mean? That means that people that are keeping their money mainly in cash, checkings accounts, or savings accounts are losing money daily because the value of that dollar is meaning less and less and less and less. Meanwhile, people that have money in assets such as investments with the stock market, cryptocurrencies, real estate, their money is going up. I had so many people freaking out because they're like, the US government shut down, I'm not going to invest, even though I was making videos saying y'all got to start investing, right? People were scared because of the shutdown. What happened? The stock market went up. Whenever a government shutdown happens, the stock market goes crazy. Look at gold right now. Gold is at like $3,800 per ounce, and just a few months ago, it hit $3,000 an ounce. Things are moving up, and if you only are keeping your money in cash, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, now it's a different story if you have your money there because you're trying to buy a house or you have your emergency fund. That's different. Okay, but if you're keeping your money there for over 5 years, 10 years, and you got nothing else, please try to rethink what you're doing, because instead of losing money, let's try to find a way for you to make it. And yes, you can make more by just investing it into the stock market.